Please give a warm welcome to Cody and Kevin from Crown Lands.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having us.
So I got to see you guys when you were touring with that cool Mongolian band. The band has set me up with a little VIP section in that little venue in South Florida, and I was completely blown away by all the music that came out of you two guys. So congratulations on this sound that has grown to what's coming today.
Thank you so much, Scott. I have a question.
Mhm.
Which Florida show was it?
It was you were opening for the Who or the
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
at
Hugh. Yeah, love those guys. Yeah, that was a big tour, and we did a bunch of Florida dates. I'm just
mhm.
trying to
You were at the
remember
Culture
which.
Room, a little place down there in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh my God, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
I
off the
remember
hook
that
that
place.
night. That was the first
yeah,
band I had to interview with an interpreter too. But
Nice. That's cool.
that's sick. That's
Yeah, they're
sick.
great guys. They're
yeah,
so fun.
they're so much into music. That was they're trying to bring music together. I thought that was a wonderful thing about them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were really. Yeah, they were amazing. Yeah, I think they all speak English now, but it was a great tour. Because like everyone in the band, yeah, spoke a few words, and we mostly just communicated by thumbs up and big
Yeah.
smiles and big
Well,
Fist
hugs.
bumps and
yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
became friends with one of them, and then we started playing this Call of Duty game on our phone together, and then we all started playing with them, and it was hilarious.
that is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it was the only way we got along. I remember Cody and I we stayed up all night one night in the hotel room trying to learn how to snipe because these guys were so
Good.
unbelievably good at Call of Duty. And so
So
we
they're good
we
gamers
literally yeah.
too.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was a
So,
great.
so for me, how did you guys start deciding just to be a two-man duo?
Yeah, well, we started out of well, the chemistry was great
Hmm.
between the two of us, and then we started playing shows outside of our hometown. And Kev had this like little Hyundai Elantra, and we didn't really have I think it was your father's Hyundai Elantra, is that correct?
It was my dad's
Yeah.
car, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't
So
even have a
so
van yet. Yeah.
yeah, so we just kind of loaded our stuff up, and when we loaded the drums up and everything, the drums were on my lap, and like we didn't have a lot of room, so we couldn't really fit another guy even if we wanted to. And like the chemistry was just really great, and the music was flowing, and our like just everything between us was great as a two piece. We felt like adding another person would have kind of ruined the feng shui.
That's so wild, though, because a lot of bands will say, the power trio is the ultimate expression of you can do anything with a power. But you guys proved it. Like I said, I've seen you live, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's
Thanks,
fun.
man.
I mean, in the studio, we for so many years we held ourselves back from getting too overzealous with the overdubs, and we threw that out the window on Fearless, which was our last full-length record, and that was really, I think, also where the band really kind of commercially, I can't really say commercial, artistically broke through, and we found our fan base, which is more of that kind of progressive rock sound that we had always flirted with, but we really leaned into it full on that record. And we've
Mhm.
pushed even further into that on this one. And obviously, we've had to get a lot more clever with the arrangements
Sure.
to pull it off as a duo. And even on some instances where we've been doing headlining evening with nights where we've been doing these shows where we play as a duo for one set. We take a 20-minute intermission and we do a costume change and we bring two guys out and we actually become a four piece and we kind of do that 80s. Yeah, it's blasphemy, I know. We go kind of full 80s Genesis kind of thing with it where Cody spends half their time drumming and then half their time like running around the stage as Black Star, and we do all these
Yeah.
costumes. It's pretty cool.
Hey,
Yeah.
if Genesis can do it, I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. That's the way we look at it. Yeah.
so the new album is on the way. It's coming out May 15th, Apocalypse.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
So, what was the idea of releasing to radio a 19-minute single? Like the first thing you got from here's a 19-minute. What do you guys like, Steven Wilson or something? Here's 19
It's
minutes. Play this.
Well,
it's a declaration of intent, my man.
yeah, so the
It's
last thing we put out, the first thing we put out with our label were two instrumental,
Right.
experimental, like world music records, right? So
But you
we
got
wanted
you
to
got an
make a
award
statement.
nomination for the second one. So,
Yeah, we did. We didn't win, but it was great to be
to be
nominated. It was super
nominated for an
cool.
instrumental album in 2026, 2025.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, so we wanted to make a statement and basically remind people like, hey guys, we haven't totally lost, the ball. We're a prog band, and here's our 19-minute single. So, and also when it's on the record, it's the last track on the record. So if we were to just release it with the rest of the record, less people would statistically get to it and then get the story of Apocalypse. So it was kind of like, hey, here's us as a band. We're a prog band. We're with Inside Out for a reason, and here's the story that we really want you to hear and read about. So it just served so many purposes that we had to do it.
I mean,
Well,
it's an
I mean,
amazing song, but it takes up, that takes up 20 minutes of an hour on a radio station anyway.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, when we were listening to it and we were doing, just mixing on it, it's as you say, right? It takes a long time to do anything when you're recording that kind of music because oh yeah, let's listen to the mix in the car.
I can imagine
Usually it's
just
a three
opening up
minute
the
endeavor.
files
Yeah.
would take a long time because I know when I work on anything over 60 seconds here, man, why is this taking so long to open up? But you're opening up a 20-minute song.
Gosh.
Dude, just mapping it out took a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's worth it though. Yeah, it's because that's the art that we want to make. And I know that we're talking to you on a radio station, but we have to make sure that um, we don't just make art with commerciality in mind.
Yeah.
You can't, once you start making music, just thinking about radio or just thinking about streaming or these days and age, just thinking about TikTok or social media,
Oh my goodness.
you've already lost,
Correct.
and you have to continue uh, the traditions that your heroes laid down, and
Yeah.
bands like Yes, Floyd, Rush, Genesis, they made some really cool art that stands the test of time, and so we're trying to do the same.
Because
Yeah.
I really think the bands that do decide we're going to try and be a hit with this, we're going to get on Spotify. I think that's the death of the art because you're working
Yeah.
towards something that's not from the heart. You're trying to hit this goal that you may or may not be able to hit. But I love the fact you guys do albums, that you're not into the single thing, and you did a 19-minute song. To me, that's what I got into music for in the first place: artists creating music and not trying to make a 3.5 minute hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally, man. And it's cool because we kind of straddle this line where we make really long songs and then we also have really short songs in comparison, right? So like most of the rest of the record is shorter songs, right? So it
Well, the
just kind of
second single
balances it
released
out.
was a more
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So we haven't completely forgotten about commerciality because you
How
gotta
Well,
you
long
Solo
is
gotta
and
Through the
Lady of the
Looking
Lake and
Glass?
others. I mean, I don't really have a problem with either the shorter songs or the longer songs, but
yeah, for
19
sure.
minutes was a bit extreme. Rush did that for 2112 and things like that. That was a thing to the record label. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But the
yeah.
cool
Well,
thing now, oh sorry. I was
no, you go.
saying nowadays we're actually with the record label releasing the 19-minute song. They get it. They're like, yeah, okay, cool.
because we want you guys to be prog, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, it's all in good fun because even Through the Looking Glass, which is 3.5 minutes, is it's a ballad about riding dragons. So I think we found our niche and the kind of music we want to write. So it
Dude,
feels
I
good.
absolutely loved it, but I pictured you filming the video at like a Renaissance fair, you know?
Oh, dude, we filmed that outside on the coldest night of the year.
Uh,
And if you're in Florida, how do I say this with so I think it was
Well, now I'm in
minus.
Alaska, so I'm a little more equal with
Oh,
you guys.
oh,
okay,
Florida was a
shit.
cool.
long
Okay.
time ago.
But you're okay, wow.
It's
So,
like
but you're still
minus
in the
30.
Fahrenheit world. Yeah, I think it was minus
Yes.
30 Celsius.
Woof.
What's that in Fahrenheit?
Yeah, we
Pretty
gotta find
close
out.
to really cold because they start coming together when it gets that cold,
Yeah,
right?
minus
Yeah.
22. So it was minus 22 Fahrenheit when we filmed this thing. And so the fire in the video was not just for looks.
It was
Cody
to
was
keep warm.
desperately trying to keep us
Yeah.
all alive.
Like between takes, I was like, "We need more wood. We're getting low on wood."
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
And I
like
saw the
one of
costumes were a bit heavier than you normally have out in the woods.
Yeah, we were
yeah,
wearing
so
layers underneath it.
yeah.
Layers are key.
Yes.
So, Kevin, I just saw on social media you celebrated your third wedding anniversary. Congratulations.
Thank you
Hey.
so much, man. Yeah, I did. And it's funny because we got married the day I got back from touring, supporting the last record we put out. And it wasn't supposed to be the day I got back. I was supposed to have a few days between it. But of course, on the last day of that tour was also the last day that our van lived, because it broke down in Montreal. So like I'm calling my wife at like 4 a.m. Well, my wife to be at that time. And I call her, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it home for the wedding, honey. The van's broken down. There's no tow trucks that can get us into, for like another day. And so we just like slept in the van, like broken down in the middle of Montreal. And it was a good time, but everything worked out. And then I got home from touring that record, and then I went on my honeymoon and came back, and yeah, it was a good time.
And obviously she doesn't have a problem with the whole rock and roll lifestyle, especially after that story.
Yeah, she's great. She's an artist herself, so she understands the chaos of it all.
Now, Cody, when it came to you guys releasing instrumental albums, you're the singer. Was that a conscious decision? Were you bothered by that decision, or was that just something? The music doesn't need words.
Yeah, man. Well, I actually really didn't want to sing on those records because I felt like the music should speak for itself. Being a fan of world music, and a lot of world music, there's vocalizations, but there's other world music where it's all instrumental. And especially with flute-led music, because we have a lot of flutes on here, I'm playing the flute. I couldn't be bothered to really think about vocal melodies or lines. I'm worried about flute melodies and how it works with everything else.
Right.
I feel like it's funny you ask that, Scott, because I think Cody has more ownership over the two Ritual records, musically than on a lot of the more traditional Crownlands records. I'd say it's interesting that you said that. Like if you're asking if Cody told like Cody, I would say Cody very much like led those projects much more than a traditional Crownlands record. And I love them for that reason. So
Thanks,
interesting.
Bro. Yeah, yeah, it is.
After the award nomination, did you think we need to do more of this kind of stuff?
Pardon me?
After the award nomination, did you think you need to do more of this instrumental, worldly sounding stuff that's a little different from what you normally do?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, it's really
It's all
nice
part of it.
Right.
Yeah, like we might explore that again sometime. We might put out a Ritual 3 sometime, but it's not like oh no, we got to go make another one right now,
But yeah, because I feel like
what we talked
once
about before, right?
yeah, like literally what you said, yeah, it would be us just trying to play the industry game at that point. And it's trying to make another instrumental record to chase an award is just as cynical as trying to write a 3-minute song to chase radio. However, it is one of those things where that's the cheapest album we ever made. We recorded it, we wrote it, recorded it, and mixed it in like a 2-week period in our studio. We did everything on our couch, and it's like the only thing we had to pay money for was mastering it, and then like one extra day for tracking a couple other things in my buddy's studio just to finish it up. So it's kind of remarkable how an album that took the least amount of time and the least amount of money ever to make actually earned more critical acclaim, but also it freaked a lot of people out too, which is great.
Yeah, but what is cool is like that's actually Ritual 2 is the fastest album from conception of the idea to finished product. And so we can make them pretty quick, but maybe not,
if the music is flowing.
Yeah, we have the next full-bodied sound record to make, and we're not going to get distracted with another side quest.
Now, as we say that, I mean, I just bought I just was gifted a Chapman stick, which is a 10-string instrument that's halfway between a guitar, a bass, and a piano. Kind of like a harp, really. It's a really cool instrument. Anyways, as we say, we're not getting caught up in side quests. We've been very caught up in the side quest of making the wildest music yet with it. I'm not sure if that's going to end up being, the stick album, or if it's going to end up being, or if it is just, in fact, this music we're making right now, it's just part of this new record. But we often do get distracted. And,
easy for us to
by exciting new instruments and exciting new sounds.
But the stick can do amazing things. I'm a big fan of Nick Beggs, and he.
Oh, okay, sick. Cool.
Sick.
Scott, you're a cool dude.
Oh, thank you.
We're name dropping Nick Beggs. All right, you're all right in my books.
I've been doing this a long time. I've talked to you probably like Billy Sheehan. I'm a big fan of him, not wise, but bass wise. Anyway,
big time.
Yeah.
I saw Mr. Big the other day. I saw him last year, and you're an amazing bass player when you have a room full of people that are there for Paul Gilbert, and this is nothing against Paul. He was amazing. I I didn't spend any time listening to Paul or looking at Paul. I was just staring at Billy, and I feel like the entire room was. It was a room full of guitar players who went to
Right.
see Paul Gilbert, and everyone was just like, just
I
like Billy Sheehan
interviewed
is
him with the
unbelievable,
Winery
man.
Dogs, and he was one of the most
Yeah.
humble dudes I have ever met. He's just like, I'm just your bass player. I'm just a bass player.
Yeah,
Nice.
wow.
I'm like, really? I'm not
That's
even
sweet.
worthy.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
So, when you guys write music, are you one of these bands that like jot down every little idea you have on the road and you go back to them, or is it sit down and we're going to write a new album?
We're more like the latter, Like sometimes we get ideas on tour and stuff, but it's very seldom. We're more of like a gear switching band, and it's like you're hard switched into tour mode or you're hard switched into writing mode. And so like usually it's like we hunker down and we're like, okay, we're in writing mode, let's do the thing.
Because touring mode is practice, repetition, getting it right, where writing could be anything.
Exactly. Yeah, and sometimes it's just we just find that we just don't do the writing part on the road. We're too concerned about nailing it.
I don't even think about the music when I'm on tour. I just think about everything else. Like I'm worried
Yeah.
about because like I tour manage, production manage, and do the merch. So like I'm again, that's the reality of playing progressive rock music in
Yeah.
2026. You cannot afford a big crew, and so we
Yeah.
have
A small.
four, often three techs that like handle the technical side of it. We have a lighting director, a front of house guy who also does a million things, and then our stage tech who
Yeah.
often sets up my rig, young Austin, the
Young
Squire.
Austin.
Squire. And yeah, and then I'm just running around the venue getting all of the logistics sorted. So I make sure everyone eats and I make
Yeah.
sure everyone gets paid and I make
Yeah.
sure the merch is set up. And so it's like I don't even think about music when I'm on tour,
You
but it's
just
kind
go
of fun.
Because
And
that's a
then
different
all of a sudden
aspect of it.
yeah, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
2 hours, then you get, oh wow, wait, we're on stage, cool, and then
Oh,
you
oh,
do
the
it, and
show's
you're like,
done?
this is
Cool.
the best time, yeah, and then it's back to packing the trailer and driving to the next city.
Yo, yo.
Well, that's
Yeah,
fun.
but
And
that's
some
what I
rock
feel like.
stars have said most of their career is waiting around all day for that 2 hours they're on stage. But see, you're a busy dude during the day.
Well, those are all the jerks, right? That's why you end up with a bunch of musicians with substance abuse problems because there's nothing else to do to curb the boredom. You just got to be busy with it, man. You gotta, and it is hard to be creative when you're um, in those kind of compressed situations. So like, I
Yeah,
do understand like why a lot of writing doesn't happen on the road.
yeah.
But I would way rather be busy because otherwise, yeah, you go crazy. I mean. Otherwise, you start lighting the celluloid picks on fire and throwing them out the window.
I mean, that's Kevin.
You know,
That's Kevin
like
McD. That's
that's
why he needs a million jobs, or else he'll
yeah.
become a rebel. Get a
Yeah. Have you
big
ever
job.
have you ever seen Lilo and Stitch? I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like Stitch. I feel like that was really. And I was like, I remember seeing that as a kid, and I was like, oh, I finally feel represented in media, and so that's why I need to be busy. Otherwise, you get into trouble.
Now, in the studio, are you efficient or does that come into play there?
well, well, that's the thing. We
No.
try to be efficient.
Well, because if you're not efficient, it's expensive. So
Oh well,
Yeah,
you
that's
own
why
your own
we
studio, right?
we do everything at our own studio now
we have our own.
because of that.
Mhm.
We often go on ridiculous tangents. I mean, I've taken to filming or at least recording our full jams now, and it's
Yeah.
often we'll sit down and like we enter this flow state where it'll be like 40 minutes straight, an hour straight, and I'll listen to it, and it's like
Whoa. What is?
here's like at the beginning of like an hour recording, we start to germinate an idea. And then we play through every Rush song or every Yes song that we know. And then we'll end up trying to like do a reggae version in 13/8 of an old song that we played in a different key. And then all of a sudden, then it gets sandwiched in by that new idea. Only now that new idea is also in 13/8 reggae. And then by the end of it, it ends up being like the actual song, and then it works out. And then you're like, okay, perfect. But it takes a long time to get there, and I think it's just the ADHD.
No, do you
Hey,
know what
speak
I
for
hear
yourself,
in
brother.
you know what I hear in this story? Two guys that really like making music together. And that's
Yeah,
really
No,
what it's all
that's
about.
true. Yeah, that's true, and that's how we that's how we've gotten this far. I think is
Well, people that
Yeah,
have never been in a band, people who have never played music, don't understand what it's like to be in a room with 2 or 4 or 30 people who are all like I played trumpet and stuff. But once you get into that groove and that you're into it, you're sharing that experience not only with the people there but the people listening. And I know 2 people in a room when you if you're playing for an hour, you're really enjoying it.
Oh yeah, and we were like playing for like almost 3 hours every night on this tour. We just freaking love to play, man. It's the best.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, we did this evening with Headline Tour where we had no opener and we opened up for ourselves in disguise. And we
Yeah.
had these druid
Robe.
robes since we dressed up as these space wizards, or we were the dragon riders of Karagon, right? They had
Yeah.
the
We
dragon riding people in our story and our album. And
played
it's kind of funny because I've had some conversations with people since and like, who are those openers? They were really cool. I was like, it's us, dude. You know?
You couldn't tell, really? It's like Superman with
Yeah.
the glasses. You really couldn't
Well, like
tell.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like
no,
the
like
hair
I
was
mean,
leaking out of the hood, the beard was out.
yeah,
There's no fooling the people in the front row at
No,
least.
not the
yeah, but
fans.
yeah. Well, we,
Yeah.
we were we were dimly lit,
Yeah.
Well, now that
and
you mentioned it, everybody's going to be looking for that. Who's their opening act tonight?
Yeah, yeah.
the
Well, you
Dragon
guys are going to
Riders,
do a
baby.
big tour for this album, right?
We're working on it right now. We just did our Ontario dates. We've got a few festivals happening in Canada in the summer. We're working really hard to figure out a European run. Um, I don't think we're doing the States this year just because logistically,
It's difficult.
it really, really
Oh
is.
yeah.
But we're doing we're going to be doing a run on the eastern side of the States at least this coming March. So it feels far away, but it really isn't.
Like,
It comes quicker than you think. So
The older I get, the faster time moves.
dude, everyone
yeah,
says that. It's true.
Days, summer days would last forever. Now, what? Summer's over? Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
no.
I
It
know.
gets worse.
We need to move somewhere with perpetual summer. I don't know, man. Like
Yeah.
we've gone from one extreme to another, Scott. You go from Florida to Alaska. That's
Oh,
you're a
I
brave.
did
You're a
4
brave
years
man.
on Grand Cayman Island. I've lived in perpetual summer, but
Wow.
it
Wow.
gets boring after a while, actually.
Yeah, that's
You're hot,
fair.
sweaty every day. There is no break from it.
Yeah.
I
I
would
kind
love
of
that,
love
man.
that.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
we're
the
I
kind
first
of
couple
I'm
years, I was
I'm
like,
a
this is
lizard.
awesome. But after a while, I was like, just a little cool, a breeze would be nice. Anyway,
breathe.
maybe a change in season would be, because it's really just flat and beachy there.
That's
That's it.
fair.
But anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
I want to move somewhere that you can wear a jean jacket year round. Like I just need to move somewhere that's nice and temperate. You can just vibe out. You're
Yeah.
comfortable. It's a nice 15 Celsius or what's that like 60 Fahrenheit? Is that what I want to say? I don't. What is Fahrenheit?
You
You
don't
I
you
don't
don't
know
know,
why
right?
we
understand.
still do, imperial or Fahrenheit, but anyway,
Yeah,
that was a
Hey
decision
man,
made when I
whatever.
was a
It's
little kid, and they've never
Yeah.
fixed it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Well,
what
and
do they say? Like after yeah, whatever. You go on.
here in Alaska, our winter is hanging on. Here it is the middle of April, and I still have snow in my yard, but we're
No
in the
way.
40s.
Wow.
We're in the 40s Fahrenheit, so it's getting there.
Yeah,
Wow. Dang.
yeah. We had snow here just 3 days ago up where I'm at. Like I'm about an hour north of Cody, but it's a
Yeah.
significant elevation change.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so when you go through like a 600 meter, what's that like a few hundred feet, for you imperials and
Yeah,
stuff there.
right. Uh,
Yeah,
I
when
can
you
do
go up,
meters better than Fahrenheit, so.
yeah,
yeah.
totally.
But yeah, it's like
Right, because
summer where I'm at.
yeah, but
Really?
it's
Already?
still quite.
Yeah. Yeah. I went out in like a t-shirt last night on a walk. It was great.
I see Cody in tank tops in February though. Okay,
Right.
don't listen to what Cody's talking
There's people
about.
here on the peninsula, yeah, February, they're in
Yeah,
shorts and flip-flops. I mean, it's 20 degrees outside, guys.
yeah.
So, new album comes out on May the 15th. I got to listen to it. It's really good. Like, it
Oh,
might be
thanks.
my favorite album from you guys because it seems to
Oh,
be everything that you put into. Oh, I do like a 19-minute song. So,
awesome. Thank you
Thanks.
so much. That means a lot, man. Yeah,
it,
we put our blood, sweat, and tears into this one.
I can't
And
wait for people to hear it. I for my real job, I'm running 6 radio stations in Alaska, but I have 2 internet stations I've been doing for 14 years. And one of them is a
Wow.
progressive rock station. I was
Oh.
going to Porcupine Tree and Riverside No Pest shows, and nobody was playing the music in this country, so I built this station, and 14 years
Cool.
later, it's still there. So you guys get
Good
a
on
lot of play on that. But
Wow.
people go, why do you do that? I mean, because I had that station on for a while, and people asked for a normal station, so the second station is just hard rock. But I still like that because I think the music is even more viable today than it was 20, 25 years ago.
That's so
It
cool.
is. It is. It's having a renaissance, man. I think a lot of young people are actually getting more interested in complex music and interesting music because I think 20 years ago there still was monoculture surrounding art and especially music, right? And so if it wasn't mainstream, you weren't exposed to it unless you were really, really weird.
Yeah.
Like yourself, Scott,
You're right.
like or like myself and like Cody, right? Where you know how it is, right? But now I think with the internet and streaming, I think young people like mainstream pop music isn't as prevalent in a lot of younger people, and you're seeing again like bands like Anshin between like blowing up, playing really interesting music, and Blood Incantation having a huge moment with their Absolute Elsewhere record that came out a couple of years ago, and I feel like Steven Wilson's probably bigger now than he was 20 years ago, right?
Oh, when
So
Porcupine Tree got back together after 14 years apart, they were,
True.
18,000 seat
Yeah.
arenas versus the little 1,000 seats,
That's so
yeah,
true.
and even Opeth, right? They're doing Pompeii. So I think
Crazy.
we are seeing there's a lot more interest in this kind of music. I mean, seeing Rush come back and seeing how celebrated they've been for it.
Yeah, of course.
It is a really great time to be doing this kind of music, and we're just here to carry it forward, man.
I saw Moving Pictures tour in 1981, and I saw every Rush tour to the end.
Wow.
That's one of my top bands. So
Wow.
Me too, man.
and I was
What's your favorite tour, Scott?
Of all time?
Yeah, like what's your favorite Rush tour that you saw?
Oh, favorite Rush tour, dude! It's hard to top that or the Signals tour because they were still doing a lot of the older stuff.
That's sick.
But those 2 tours, that to me, I had gotten into them about A Farewell to Kings, and my buddy got me into 2112. But then by the time I got into when Moving Pictures came out, I was like, well, we've got Permanent Waves. We like, But anyway, the time I got to see them, I was a freshman or junior or sophomore in high school. A buddy of mine took me, and it was mind blowing that 3 guys could put out that much music.
Yeah.
But then I became an even uber fan after that, and I've not missed these guys ever. And no matter where I was in my career, I'd go see them at least once or twice on a tour just because.
Wow, I love that.
Dude.
Yeah.
I love the Signals tour, man. Yeah, like they played everything so fast on that tour.
They did.
Like, they were.
Greatest. Who's the greatest band you've seen of all time? The greatest concert you've been to.
We have been to Rush, so to say anything else is blasphemy.
I'm doing it. I'm
thing,
doing it. No, this is my spicy take, Scott. So until 2 years ago, I would say Rush. I saw Rush 5 times, and each one was magical and special in its own way. But 2 years ago, I saw Pat Metheny do a solo show in Massey Hall, and that actually blew me away. Like that, because I only went in knowing. I mean, I knew Off Ramp, I knew Asphalt Wichita, I knew The Way Up, and that was it. I knew like 3 of his albums.
First
and he didn't play any.
He didn't play any for that first song, but love Pat Metheny.
Dude, me too. But it was just like my first time going in, and it was just a solo show, and that was the greatest show I've ever seen in my entire life. Like that was just like, I mean, dude is a true master. He's become like I think my favorite guitar player. Like ever since seeing that, and it's like all of the again like. There's so much that's so far above my own understanding of music in his playing that it just makes me want to go and practice. It just makes me want to get better and better, right? And that's the best concert I've ever seen.
That's awesome. I've seen him once. It was an amazing show. He's one of my favorite guitar players. So, guys, they're telling us we're running out of time. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Oh, dude, thank you, Scott.
Yeah, I had the best time.